The millionaire married a fake bride for his fading mother. Until her truth shattered his world, the story begins in a quiet hospital room where the dim glow of a bedside lamp falls across a frail woman's face. Machines hum softly, steady but uncertain, as if deciding whether to continue or surrender. Adrian Knight, the millionaire known for ruthless precision and unshakable control, sits beside the bed with both hands wrapped around his mother's thin fingers. His posture is rigid, but his eyes tell the truth he never says out loud. He is losing her. He can feel time slipping through his grip like sand, and every second becomes heavier than the last. His mother opens her eyes with effort, her breath shallow, her voice barely a whisper. "Adrian, I just want to know you will not be alone." The sentence trembles in the air, fragile and final. Adrian freezes, unable to speak, unable to reassure her. Outside the window, a cold wind rattles the glass as if echoing her fear. And in that silent moment, a single thought rises inside him with terrifying clarity. What can a son do when the one person he cannot lose is already slipping away? Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to our main characters. Adrian rises slowly from the bedside chair, his hand lingering on the blanket before he lets go. The camera follows him as he steps into the hallway, the door closing behind him with a muted click that feels heavier than any decision he has made in boardrooms. His entourage is gone. His authority means nothing here. He walks down the corridor with his shoulders squared, but the exhaustion in his eyes betrays him at every turn. The lights overhead cast long shadows across the tiled floor as he stops at a vending machine, not for food, but for a moment to breathe. His reflection in the glass startles him. The man staring back looks hollow, frightened, and utterly alone. He remembers the last time his mother truly smiled. It was weeks ago, during a medical emergency, when she trembled with fear and panic. Nurses rushed in and out, but one young woman knelt beside her with steady hands and a soft voice that cut through the chaos. Mia Dawson. She had held his mother's hand and whispered calmly until the trembling eased. And for the first time in months, his mother's eyes had softened, finding comfort in a stranger's presence. Adrian had never forgotten that moment. Now, standing under the cold fluorescent lights, he understands why it returns to him with such force. His mother wants peace before she leaves this world. She wants to know her son is not destined for a life of solitude. Adrian lifts his head as a decision crystallizes. It is bold. It is reckless. It is unlike anything he has ever done. But it is the only way he can honor her final wish. Later that evening, he finds Mia at the small clinic where she works late shifts. The room smells faintly of disinfectant, and she is guiding an elderly patient toward a chair, speaking to him with warm patience. When she notices Adrian in the doorway, her expression shifts from surprise to concern. "Mr. Knight, are you all right?" "No," he answers quietly, his voice rough with sleepless emotion. "But I know what I need to ask you." Mia steps closer, her brows knitting with worry. "What is it?" Adrian meets her gaze without looking away, knowing that once he speaks, nothing will return to the way it was before. "I need a wife," he says. "Just for 6 months." Her breath catches, and the room falls into absolute stillness. And that is where everything begins to change. Mia does not speak right away. The clinic hallway is quiet, washed in soft yellow light that seems too warm for the words she has just heard. Her hands tighten around the clipboard she is holding, and Adrian watches her carefully, aware that he has dropped a life-altering decision into her lap without warning. The silence stretches, but it is not empty. It is full of questions neither of them knows how to ask. "Why me?" Mia finally whispers. Her voice is steady, but her eyes betray the swirl of confusion inside her. Adrian takes a slow breath, choosing honesty because he has nothing else left to offer. "Because I saw the way you spoke to my mother. You calmed her when no one else could. You treated her as if she mattered, not as a patient, not as the mother of a wealthy man, but as a human being." He pauses, and the words seem to strain inside him. "I cannot give her more time, but I can give her peace." I want her to believe that her son has someone beside him before she goes. Mia lowers her gaze. A small heartbeat of silence follows, and the camera lingers on her fingers as they loosen around the clipboard. The weight of Adrian's request settles into her shoulders. She understands what he is asking. She understands what it means. Her own life has been a war of bills, overdue notices, and grief that never fully healed after losing her own mother. She knows exactly what it feels like to stand at the edge of goodbye. 6 months, she murmurs, almost to herself. Just 6 months of pretending. Adrian nods once. Pretending for my mother. Not for anyone else. His voice softens. I will protect your privacy. I will compensate you fairly. You will have a safe place to live. But I need someone I can trust to be gentle with her. Mia looks up again, and for a moment, something passes between them. Not attraction, not yet. Something quieter. Recognition. Two people carrying different kinds of grief, drawn together by one fading heartbeat. What about your life? Mia asks. Your work, your friends, the media. How will you explain all of this? Adrian's jaw tightens. I will handle it. I always do. There is a confidence in his tone, but underneath it lies the fatigue of a man who has carried too much alone for too long. Mia sees it. It is impossible not to. And something inside her shifts in response. A tug of sympathy she did not expect to feel for a man whose world is the complete opposite of hers. She exhales slowly, pressing a hand against her chest as if grounding herself. What would be required of me? Adrian reaches into his coat and unfolds a thin silver folder. The paper inside carries the elegance of corporate precision. A marriage contract, he says. 6 months. Appear with me at family events. Accompany me to the hospital. Be present when my mother asks for you. In return, you will receive housing, full financial stability, and anything else you may need. Mia scans the top page. Her throat tightens when she sees one clause highlighted clearly. No secrets. Full honesty. Her fingers tremble. Adrian mistakes the reaction for hesitation, but it is fear. Fear of the past she has tried to bury. Fear of the truth she has kept hidden from everyone. Fear of losing this fragile chance to help someone who needs her. I understand, she says quietly. Adrian's voice lowers. Then will you accept? The camera holds on Mia. Her pulse is visible at her neck. Her eyes flicker with conflict, with responsibility, with a longing to escape the life that has pressed her into the ground for too long. And finally, with a breath that sounds like surrender and courage all at once, she says, yes. The single word shifts the air. Adrian's shoulders drop as if a weight has been lifted, but Mia feels another weight take its place inside her heart. She knows her decision will change everything, but she has no way of knowing how deep the consequences will run. As Adrian steps closer and offers his hand, a soft tremor passes through her fingers. Somewhere far away, a heart monitor beeps steadily. Somewhere closer, two lives begin to intertwine. And neither of them realizes yet that the contract they are signing will demand far more than 6 months. The morning light settles softly across the penthouse as Mia stands near a wide marble counter, her hands clasped tightly together. A formal envelope rests between her fingertips, the marriage contract sealed inside. Adrian stands across from her, his expression calm but unreadable, like a man who has trained himself to hide every flicker of emotion. The silence between them feels almost ceremonial, as if they are about to take a step neither can reverse. Adrian nods once. Whenever you are ready. Mia inhales slowly, steadying her breath. She breaks the seal, and the pages unfold with crisp precision. Her eyes scan the contract again, reading each clause carefully, even though the words have echoed in her mind since the night before. 6 months. Accompany him to the hospital. Participate in family moments. Protect his mother's peace. Maintain the appearance of a real marriage. And then the line that still tightens her chest each time she sees it. No secrets. Full honesty between both parties. Her heartbeat thumps against her ribs. She forces herself to continue reading. Every clause reflects a man who is trying desperately to create stability for someone he loves. There is nothing manipulative, nothing controlling. It is simply a son's final attempt to grant his mother comfort before she slips away. Adrian watches her closely. If there is anything you want removed or changed, no, Mia replies softly. It is fair. It is clear. She lifts her gaze to meet his. and I understand the responsibility you are trusting me with. A brief, fleeting softness touches Adrian's eyes, but it disappears just as quickly. He hands her a sleek, black pen, the weight of it cool in her palm. Mia signs her name with a calm, steady curve, though her pulse trembles beneath her skin. When she finishes, she sets the pen down and slides the contract back toward Adrian. He signs without hesitation. 2 signatures. 1 arrangement. A turning point neither fully understands. Adrian closes the folder gently, almost with reverence. "Thank you," he says, and the sincerity in his voice is unmistakable. "This means more to my mother than you can imagine." Mia nods, feeling warmth bloom in her chest that she was not expecting. She has always wanted to help people, to stand beside them when they feel afraid. Maybe, in a strange way, this arrangement gives her a chance to do that again. The camera follows them as Adrian leads her through the penthouse, explaining where she will stay. The space is beautiful, spacious, and nothing like her dim apartment across town. The guest room he has prepared has soft gray bedding, a window overlooking the city, and a quiet corner that feels safe. It is the first time in months she has felt a sense of stillness. Adrian pauses in the doorway. "If you ever need anything, tell me," he says. "This is your home for the next 6 months." The simple statement lands deeper than he expects. Mia turns toward him, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you for trusting me with this. I will not let you down." Adrian holds her gaze, and for a brief moment, the world between them softens. It is not affection, not yet, but the faint outline of something that could grow if allowed. A fragile space, where 2 guarded hearts recognize a familiar ache. But the moment fades when Adrian's phone vibrates sharply. He glances at the screen, and his expression tightens. It is the hospital. "My mother is asking for us." Mia feels her breath catch. It is happening sooner than she expected. They have signed the contract, but now they must step into the roles it demands. Adrian extends his hand toward her. Not as a businessman, not as a millionaire, but as a son. "Are you ready?" Mia nods, placing her hand in his. And as they walk out together, the camera follows the first true step of their arrangement, toward the woman whose final wish has bound their lives. The elevator doors slide open to the familiar scent of antiseptic and soft echoes of footsteps moving through the hospital corridor. Adrian walks beside Mia, his pace steady but tense, as if each step pulls him closer to a truth he is not prepared to face. Mia matches his stride, her hand brushing the edge of her coat, trying to quiet the flutter inside her chest. They may have signed a contract, but nothing could have prepared her for stepping directly into the heart of his world. As they approach the room, Adrian pauses with his hand on the door handle. His shoulders rise with a slow inhale, as though he is trying to gather a strength he has not needed in years. "She will be happy to see you," he says softly, without looking at Mia. It is not a reassurance. It is a hope. He opens the door. Warm light fills the room, casting a gentle glow over the frail woman resting beneath soft blankets. Adrian Knight lifts her eyes, effort tugging at every movement. But when she sees Mia standing beside her son, something bright flickers across her features, a fragile but unmistakable spark. "Mia," she whispers. "You came." Mia steps closer with a tender smile. "Of course I did. I wanted to see how you were feeling today." Eleanor reaches out with a trembling hand. Mia moves instantly, taking it gently between both of hers. The camera lingers on the contrast, the softness of Mia's touch and the thin, fading strength in Eleanor's fingers. Adrian watches from the foot of the bed, his breath easing slightly as his mother's eyes soften. "You bring light into the room," Eleanor murmurs. "I can feel it." Mia swallows, her voice warm and steady. "You do the same for me." Adrian looks at them, a subtle amazement in his eyes. His mother, who has spent weeks drifting in and out of exhaustion, now seems anchored by Mia's presence. It is real, it is unmistakable, and it confirms that his decision, however desperate, was not a mistake. The scene shifts later that evening as Adrian and Mia prepare for their first family dinner together at the Knight estate. The dining room is elegant, with towering windows overlooking the city skyline. A soft jazz melody plays through hidden speakers, adding warmth to the candlelit glow. Mia's hands tremble slightly as she adjusts the simple pearl earrings Eleanor insisted she wear. She looks at herself in the mirror, unsure of the woman reflected back. The dress fits her perfectly, but the reality of this world feels overwhelming, like walking into a life that was never meant to belong to her. Adrian enters quietly. His gaze settles on her, and for a moment, he forgets to speak. There is something different about Mia tonight, something steady and graceful that does not come from training or money. It comes from her. "You look perfect," he says at last. Mia meets his eyes through the reflection. "I hope I can do this right." "You already are," he says, and the sincerity in his voice makes her breath catch. They walk into the dining room, where Eleanor waits in a wheelchair, her smile tender and full of pride. The moment she sees them side by side, she clasps her hands together. "This feels like a family," she whispers. Dinner unfolds with gentle conversation and soft laughter. Adrian watches Mia interact with his mother, noticing how naturally she leans forward to listen, how easily she guides Eleanor through a story when her breath weakens. Something stirs in him, something unfamiliar and unsettling. Mia is not performing. She is simply present, kind, real. When dessert arrives, Eleanor takes Mia's hand again, her voice delicate. "Promise me something," she says. "Promise that you will look after each other." Adrian stiffens. Mia's eyes widen. Eleanor smiles sadly. "I may not have much time left, but I can see clearly. You two belong in the same story." Silence fills the room, heavy and intimate. The camera lingers on Adrian as he looks at Mia, truly seeing her in a way he has not allowed himself to before. And for the first time, a question forms quietly inside him. What if this arrangement becomes something neither of them expected? The night after the family dinner settles quietly over the city, but inside Adrian's world, nothing feels quiet anymore. Mia stands beside him in the hallway of the Knight estate, her hands folded in front of her dress, her breathing soft but steady. Eleanor has been wheeled back to her room, exhausted but glowing with a rare peace. The house feels different now, as if Mia's presence has opened windows that had long been sealed shut. "Thank you for tonight," Adrian says quietly. His voice carries a weight that makes Mia look up at him. She has not smiled like that in months. Mia nods gently. "Your mother has a very warm spirit. She just needed a moment where she did not feel alone." Adrian studies her for a moment longer than he intends. Something in him shifts, a fragile awareness he tries to push aside. "Let me walk you to your room." They move through the dim hallway, the soft lights above them reflecting against polished floors. With each step, Mia feels the rhythm of this new life settling around her, not as a performance, but as something she is slowly becoming a part of. She can sense Adrian's presence beside her, not overwhelming, but steady and careful. When they stop at her door, a quiet pause forms between them. Adrian clears his throat as if searching for the right words. "You handled everything with grace. That dinner could have gone very differently." Mia smiles faintly. "I just wanted her to feel safe. She is fighting so hard." Something tightens in Adrian's expression, a flash of pain he rarely allows anyone to see. Mia reaches out instinctively and places a gentle hand on his forearm. He freezes at the unexpected touch, but he does not pull away. "She is proud of you," Mia says softly. "She sees you, even when you think she does not." Adrian breathes out slowly, the tension draining from his shoulders in a way he cannot explain. For a moment, they stand there in quiet understanding, two people holding different wounds but sharing the same ache. The next evening arrives quickly, and with it, their first public event as a married couple. The charity gala is held at a towering downtown hotel, the lobby glowing with chandeliers and flashes of camera lights. Adrian stands tall beside Mia as they step onto the marble floor. The air hums with conversation and polished elegance. Reporters hover near the entrance, whispering as soon as they see the pair. Adrian feels Mia tense slightly and instinctively moves closer, offering her the shield of his presence. "You will do fine," he murmurs. "Just stay with me." They walk through the room with poised confidence, though Mia can feel hundreds of eyes evaluating, measuring, judging. It is overwhelming, but she grounds herself by remembering Eleanor's soft smile and the gentle squeeze of her hand. A reporter steps forward abruptly. "Mr. Knight, people are curious about your sudden marriage. Is this a genuine relationship, or is it simply for appearances?" The question cuts sharply through the air. Adrian opens his mouth, ready to respond, but Mia steps forward before he can speak. Her voice is steady, warm, and unexpectedly firm. Love does not always need a grand announcement, she says. Sometimes it grows quietly. Sometimes it grows while people are hurting. And sometimes, people choose each other because they want to bring comfort into a difficult moment. What matters is that we show up for the people we care about. The crowd stills. Cameras point directly at her. Adrian watches her, stunned by her composure and by the sincerity in her tone. Mia continues, "We are building something real in the way that matters to us. And that is enough." A wave of murmurs spreads through the room, softer this time, touched with respect rather than suspicion. The tension dissolves. Adrian feels something warm bloom in his chest, something deeper than gratitude. As the music begins and the lights dim, Adrian leans closer. "You saved us tonight." Mia shakes her head. "I just told them the truth." But Adrian is still looking at her, the question forming quietly behind his eyes. What if the truth becomes more complicated than either of them planned? The ballroom lights dim into a softer glow as the music shifts into a slow, steady rhythm. People gather near tables, laughter floating through the air, but Adrian barely hears any of it. His focus stays on Mia, who stands beside him with her hands clasped gently, her expression calm despite the attention circling the room. The tension of the reporter's question has faded, leaving behind a strange, lingering warmth that neither of them knows how to put into words. Adrian leans slightly closer. "If you need a break, we can step outside." Mia nods with quiet relief. Fresh air would be nice. They slip through a side door leading to a private balcony. The city stretches far below them, a sea of lights reflecting off glass towers. The night breeze is cool, brushing gently against Mia's hair as she steps toward the railing. Adrian stands a few feet away at first, giving her space, but his eyes remain fixed on her, as if drawn without permission. "You handled yourself with incredible strength tonight," he says softly. Mia looks over her shoulder. "I just wanted to protect what matters to your mother." "And what matters to you?" Her words land deeper than she expects. Adrian moves closer, the distance between them shrinking until the soft glow of the balcony light reveals the tired edges beneath his confidence. "I am not used to people standing beside me," he admits quietly. "In my world, loyalty is a transaction. But you are different. You show up even when it is uncomfortable." Mia studies him for a moment. There is vulnerability in his posture, in the way his shoulders drop slightly, as if he is letting her see the man beneath the armor. "Everyone needs someone," she murmurs. "Even you." The breeze carries her words gently, but they strike with surprising force. Adrian turns toward the city, gripping the railing as if the metal helps steady him. "I have been preparing myself for her loss for months," he says. "Yet every day, I feel less ready. I keep thinking about the mistakes I made, the years I spent traveling for work, the calls I missed. I wonder if I gave her enough." Mia steps beside him, her voice soft but certain. "Guilt is heavy, Adrian. But love is heavier. And she feels your love every time you walk into her room. That is what stays with her, not the moments you missed." He closes his eyes briefly, the pain etched across his features easing just a little at her words. When he looks at her again, the emotion in his eyes is raw and unguarded. "You talk about love as if it is simple," he whispers. Mia shakes her head. Gently. "It is not simple, but it is honest." The quiet between them deepens, but it is no longer uncomfortable. It is warm, charged with something neither of them is prepared to name. Adrian reaches out instinctively, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face. Mia inhales sharply, her heartbeat thundering in the stillness. For a moment, they stand so close that the air feels suspended between them. Adrian lowers his hand slowly, his voice barely audible. "We should go back inside." Mia nods, though her breath trembles. "Yes, we should." They walk toward the door, but before Adrian reaches for the handle, he stops again, turning toward her with an expression she cannot read. "Mia, thank you. For being here tonight. For being here for her." "And for you?" she asks softly. Adrian hesitates, the truth pressing against his lips. "And for me." The hallway greets them with warm light as they step back inside, but something between them is different now. Something fragile and undeniable has formed in the shadows of the balcony, threading itself between their footsteps as they move through the crowd. Mia can feel it. Adrian can feel it. And neither of them realizes yet that the closer they grow, the more dangerous the truth she carries will become. Because secrets do not stay buried forever. Especially not in a contract built on honesty. Morning light cuts through the curtains of the penthouse, washing the living room in soft gold. Mia steps quietly through the space, holding a fresh cup of tea for Eleanor, who has been resting in the guest suite on the lower floor. She moves gently, her steps careful, her expression calm. But there is something different in her eyes, something unsettled, something that has lingered ever since the balcony last night. She pushes open Eleanor's door and freezes. Eleanor is smiling, but she is not alone. A nurse stands beside the bed, adjusting Eleanor's blanket. And next to her, resting on the nightstand, is a newspaper. A photograph covers the front page. Mia's photograph. The headline curls across the top like a blade. Runaway bride found again. New wife of millionaire Adrian Knight has a troubled past. Mia's breath shatters in her chest. Her fingers tighten around the teacup until it trembles. The nurse looks up, startled, but it is Eleanor's voice that cuts the air. "Mia," she says, gently, "is there something you want to tell us?" It is not accusation. It is concern. It is softness. It is everything Mia feared she would not receive. But the door behind her opens suddenly. Adrian stands there, the newspaper in his hand, his jaw locked, his eyes dark with disbelief. The air changes instantly. The warmth disappears. The room becomes a quiet battlefield. He steps forward, his gaze fixed on her. "Is this true?" Mia opens her mouth, but panic swallows the words. "Adrian, I can explain. How could you hide this?" His voice is low but deeply strained, trembling with disappointment he cannot contain. This contract had one rule. One rule, Mia. No secrets. She steps closer, shaking her head desperately. "I was afraid. I wanted to protect your mother. I wanted to protect myself. I thought if I said anything, so you lied," Adrian says, each word clipped and precise. "From the beginning." "It was not a lie," Mia whispers, her voice breaking. "It was fear. Fear does not justify deception." His shoulders stiffen, and he forces himself to look at her with the cold clarity of a man who has been betrayed too many times. "I trusted you." The words hit harder than any accusation. Mia's lungs tighten painfully. "Please, listen to me. That marriage was forced. I escaped because I was not safe. I came here with nothing, trying to rebuild my life without reliving that nightmare. I did not want to burden you or your mother with my past." Adrian shakes his head slowly, rubbing his forehead as if the truth is too heavy to hold. "You think this is about burden? I built this agreement on honesty, Mia. My mother welcomed you into her heart, and you allowed her to believe everything was simple and clean." Mia steps forward again, tears rising. "I love her. I would never hurt her. But you hurt me," Adrian says quietly. The sentence lands like a blow. Eleanor watches them with sorrow-filled eyes, but she cannot bridge the distance that has opened between them. Adrian sets the newspaper on the bed and turns away. "I need space. I need time to understand what is real and what is performance." Mia's voice trembles. "Adrian, please, look at me." But he does not. He walks out of the room, each step echoing through the hallway with finality. Mia collapses into the chair beside the bed, her hands covering her face. Eleanor reaches out weakly and touches Mia's arm. "My dear, love does not break because of truth. It breaks because of fear." Mia sobs quietly, her shoulders shaking. "I never wanted to lie. I just wanted to be enough." Eleanor squeezes her hand with fading strength. "Then fight for the truth. Your truth." But Mia knows the damage is done. The man she is beginning to care for deeply has pulled away, and she does not know if he will ever let her near his heart again. And far beyond the walls of the estate, shadows from her past have begun to move, ensuring that this betrayal will not be the last storm they face. The house feels heavier than ever that afternoon, as if silence itself has taken root inside every hallway. Mia sits alone in the small guest room, her hands clasped tightly together, her breath shallow and uneven. Hours have passed since Adrian walked away, yet the echo of his footsteps still lives inside her chest. She keeps replaying the moment he looked at her with disappointment rather than trust, and each replay cuts a little deeper. She knows she should leave. She knows she has broken the one rule he cared about. But Eleanor is still fragile, and Mia cannot bring herself to disappear while the woman who trusted her is fighting for every breath. So she remains, even as the weight of shame grows unbearable. Downstairs, Adrian stands near the tall windows overlooking the city. The skyline glows in soft afternoon light, but he sees none of it. His mind circles the same thought again and again, the same pain tightening in his chest. Why did she hide it? Why did she not trust him? Yet beneath the anger, something more dangerous stirs. The realization that her truth hurt him only because she mattered. More than he intended. More than he allowed himself to admit. He presses a hand to his forehead, exhaling sharply. He remembers Mia's trembling voice. The fear in her eyes. The softness she brought into his mother's life. The comfort she offered him on the balcony. The courage she showed at the gala. Nothing about her kindness was a performance. Nothing about her care for Eleanor was a lie. It is the secrecy that wounded him, not the woman herself. Before he can sort his thoughts, a soft knock echoes through the room. The door opens, and the head nurse steps in with a somber expression. Mr. Knight, your mother is asking for you. And she is asking for Mia. Adrian's heart drops. Is something wrong? The nurse hesitates, choosing her words carefully. She is tired. Very tired today. She wants to speak with both of you. The meaning is clear. Too clear. Adrian's breath catches. He walks quickly toward the hallway, and the camera follows him as he moves with growing urgency. When he reaches the guest room, he stops. Mia is standing at the window, holding back quiet tears. She turns when she hears him, startled by his presence. Your mother. She needs us, Adrian says. His voice is rough, but not cold. Mia sets a hand against her chest, steadying herself. Is she all right? She wants to see you, he says again, softer this time. Mia nods and follows him through the hallway. Her steps feel fragile, but there is determination inside them too. When they enter Eleanor's room, the older woman smiles weakly, lifting her trembling hand toward them. Come here, she whispers. Adrian moves to her side, taking her hand. Mia does the same on the other side, her eyes filled with worry and affection. Eleanor looks between them with a knowing tenderness. Do you think I did not see it? She breathes. The fear in both of you, the love in both of you, the pain between you. Adrian lowers his head, unable to hide the emotion in his eyes. Mia bites her lip, tears forming again. Eleanor squeezes their hands with fading strength. Love is not built on perfection. It is built on forgiveness, on choosing the other person even when it is hard. Adrian's breath trembles. He looks at Mia, really looks at her, as if seeing her pain for the first time instead of only the broken promise. Eleanor continues, my darling boy, if you care for her, do not let fear speak louder than your heart. Mia tries to speak, but Eleanor touches her cheek. And you, stop running from the truth. It does not make you unworthy. It makes you human. The room is quiet except for Eleanor's breathing, soft and uneven. Adrian feels something inside him collapse and rebuild in the same moment. He turns fully toward Mia, his voice low. I was angry because I trusted you. Mia whispers. I hid it because I never believed I deserved to be trusted. Adrian steps closer, emotion tightening his voice. Then let us start again. Without fear. Without secrets. Mia's breath catches. Adrian. He reaches out and gently takes her hand. Stay? Not for the contract. Not for the appearances. Stay because I want you here. And because she does too. Eleanor smiles faintly, her eyes warm despite the exhaustion. It is the smile of a mother who has waited a long time to see her son choose someone with his heart rather than his obligations. Around them, the quiet hum of machines continues, but something new has begun to grow, soft, fragile, and unmistakably real. And neither Adrian nor Mia realizes yet that the fight for their future is only beginning. The following days unfold slowly, wrapped in a tender quiet that fills every corner of the Knight estate. Adrian and Mia move through the house with a gentleness neither had shown before, as if both are learning how to breathe again, this time without fear. They spend hours at Eleanor's bedside, reading softly, adjusting her blankets, or simply sitting in silence while she sleeps. Their hands often brush, and although neither comments on it, neither pulls away. One afternoon, as soft light spills across the floor, Eleanor wakes with clearer eyes than she has had in days. She gestures for both of them to come closer. Adrian sits at her right, Mia at her left, their hands instinctively finding hers. My time is short, Eleanor murmurs, her voice thin but warm. But my heart is full. I have watched the two of you find each other, not through convenience, not through the contract, but through kindness. Mia feels tears rising, and Adrian gently squeezes her hand. Eleanor continues, Adrian, my darling boy, you have always carried the world on your shoulders. Let someone carry the pain with you. And Mia, you have carried wounds alone for far too long. Let yourself be loved without needing to apologize for your past. Her breathing grows weaker, but her smile remains steady. Promise me, she whispers, that you will take care of each other. Not because of obligation, but because life is softer when two hearts walk together. Adrian's voice breaks as he answers, I promise, mother. Mia leans closer, her tears falling freely. So do I. Eleanor closes her eyes, a peaceful breath escaping her lips. It is calm, almost serene, as if she has been waiting for this moment of unity before letting go. Moments later, the room falls into stillness. The heart monitor flattens into a steady tone. A nurse quietly steps forward. Adrian bows his head over his mother's hand, his shoulders shaking. Mia reaches across the bed and takes his other hand, grounding him in her presence. He does not push her away. Instead, he leans into her touch, finding the strength he no longer has to summon alone. The funeral follows days later, held on a quiet hillside where the wind moves gently through tall grass. Adrian stands in a black suit, solemn and composed, but his hand never leaves Mia's. She remains beside him, offering silent comfort as family members and close friends pay their respects. When the final words are spoken, Adrian lifts his gaze to the sky, letting the weight of loss settle into a place that no longer feels empty, because Mia is there to carry it with him. Weeks pass. Life returns with slow footsteps, reshaping itself around grief and healing. One crisp afternoon, Adrian invites Mia to a small art gallery she has always admired but has never dared to enter. She arrives expecting a quiet visit, but when the lights brighten, she realizes the entire gallery is empty, reserved just for them. Her heart races. Adrian, what is this? He steps closer, holding a small velvet box. This is a promise, he says softly. A promise not built on a contract, not on fear, not on pretending. You walked into my life when everything was falling apart. You gave my mother peace. You gave me someone to trust, someone to hope with. His voice thickens with emotion. You were the only part of those months that felt real. Mia covers her mouth, overwhelmed by the sincerity pouring from his words. Adrian opens the box. A ring glimmers inside, not extravagant, but elegant and thoughtful. I do not want 6 months, he says. I want forever, if you will have me. Tears gather in Mia's eyes as she looks into his. Adrian, yes, I will. He slips the ring onto her finger, and for the first time since they met, there is no distance, no contract, no shadows between them. Adrian pulls her into his arms, and Mia rests her head against his chest, allowing herself to believe that love, not fear, has finally found her. Their story, once built on necessity and secrecy, now stands on truth and devotion. And as they walk out of the gallery hand in hand, the world feels open again, full of possibilities touched with the warmth of everything they fought to earn. A real marriage, a real promise, a real future.